I'm Elliott Forrest. Welcome to another artist check-in with us today. She has two names, really, and two different careers. Theodora Siegel, Teddy Siegel. Thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Let me do a little introduction, let people know who you are. You're a native of Long Island. You're involved in opera and concert works and musical theater and dance. Graduated with a master's from the Mannes School, bachelor's from the music from the bachelor's of music from UCLA Herb Alpert School of Music. You did opera there. You were in The Marriage of Figaro. She's been trained in modern dance and jazz and ballet. She's performed at Carnegie Hall, but she has this whole other life. She's the creator of Got2Go NYC. It's a TikTok and Instagram account dedicated to the sharing of public, sanitary, and accessible New York City bathrooms. I want to get into all of this. Thank you, and thanks for coming in.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So, just let me start with the bathroom stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
How did that start?
So it all really happened by accident, quite literally. I almost had an accident in Times Square. In July of 2021, I was shopping with my sister when I realized I had to go to the bathroom, and I had absolutely no idea what to do, where to go. We wound up running around to multiple stores, which all turned me away, before I burst into the McDonald's in Times Square in tears, begging to use the restroom, and was told I needed to buy something in order to access the bathroom. And so I wound up buying a water bottle for like $3, ran up a flight of stairs, and found the bathroom unlocked. And I really just wished in that moment that there was some sort of resource that I could have gone to that showed me where the closest accessible bathroom was, so I could have saved my time, money, and anxiety running around. And I just took a video of the outside of the McDonald's that day and thought, if this helps one other person, that would be pretty cool. And I posted it on a TikTok account I made that day, Got2Go NYC. And it all really just took off from there. I started receiving in the comments section of that video other locations of publicly accessible bathrooms throughout the city. And by the end of the summer, I was receiving hundreds of submissions. And I wound up taking the submissions I was receiving and creating a crowdsourced Google map. I had so many people, just a lot of concerns, being like, oh, well, do you really want to be associated with this if you're trying to build up an opera career? And so it was something that was kind of in the back of my mind. But then I really made the decision. I didn't even have my face on Got2Go for over half a year, because I just had a lot of concerns about what people in the classical music world or opera world would think, considering it was bathroom talk. But then I thought, if someone doesn't want to be associated with me because of that, then I don't really want to be working for them anyways.
Right. I think you're right. When did you start singing?
So I've always loved to sing. I originally started with ballet, and that was my first real experience with classical music, and I absolutely loved it. But I knew that I just needed to sing, and I begged my parents for voice lessons, and I wound up getting involved in musical theater in middle school, and I started taking voice lessons. And I had a teacher who told me, if you really want to be a serious singer, you need to take classical training.
I have a degree in theater. My wife has a degree in theater, so does my daughter. And there's just, with the Jimmy Awards and all the focus on Broadway, in high school, there seems to be so many opportunities for musical theater. It's amazing that there's actually not as much opportunity for would-be opera singers, right?
Definitely. I really had to search it out, and I wound up taking the train every single Saturday to and from Manhattan School of Music. It took me over an hour each way to get there and back. And it was really nice to be able to have a community of other people that loved and appreciated opera and classical music.
And since you grew up in the New York area, I'm hoping WQXR was a part of your upbringing and helped find some kind of support with opera and classical music, right?
Yeah, definitely. My grandpa was a huge opera buff, and he always had it playing in the car. And one of our favorite stories is when I was in early high school, he came and picked me up and had all of the windows down in the car and was blasting La Boheme. And I got in the car and had my head down as we were driving past the boys lacrosse practice, and I was sinking in the seat. Right. But he was just so happy and was oh my gosh, she loves it. He had no idea. I was so embarrassed.
Had it been rock or rap, it would have been
exactly.
totally different story.
Yeah, but I feel it was so great to be able to have someone who was playing the Pearl Fisher's duet and all of this beautiful music that I was exposed to from such a young age.
So a lot of your education happened during the pandemic. What kind of a challenge was that for you?
It was definitely challenging. The pandemic started towards the end of my junior year of undergrad, and my entire senior year at UCLA was all virtual, which having voice lessons, coachings, rehearsals
Performances?
virtually.
How do you even, you did?
Yeah, we did a virtual production of The Marriage of Figaro, or at least attempted to.
Right.
So it was definitely a struggle, and I feel like we all have such a greater appreciation now for live performances, and so that's definitely a silver lining of it, and I never take any rehearsals now for granted, being able to be making music in person with people.
Opera singers tend to have roles that they have in mind for now, for 3 years, 5 years. It sort of changes over the what do you have your eye on?
So definitely something I've been working on for the past couple of years, and I'm hoping within at least 5 to 10 years, my dream would be to do Zerbinetta from Ariadne auf Naxos. That's one of my favorite operas of all time, and it's definitely a beast to conquer. And so I've been doing it bit by bit, and that's something that's definitely a dream goal. But for right now, I love bel canto opera as well. And something like Adina, An Elixir of Love would be something I'd love to do now.
There was a time, and I don't know how opera singers feel about this phrase, but it was mostly just park and bark, where you would just stand and sing, and movement and acting and dance wasn't really a part of it. But you've taken a lot of that seriously and want to incorporate that, right?
Definitely. I feel like it's really important to be such a well-rounded performer, because at the end of the day, it's like if you have a great voice, that's fantastic. But I feel like the most important thing is conveying a story and conveying a message. And so if you're able to use your physicality and your body to really connect into the character and portray that to the audience, it's going to create a much more meaningful performance.
And the creation of the Got2Go is part social media, part marketing, and part helpful. But there's a part of you that has that is into advocacy as well, and working for other causes. Tell us about that.
Definitely. So when I got started with Got2Go, I kind of viewed it just as this cheeky account that I was running as a creative outlet while I was getting my master's at Mannes School of Music. And it wasn't until I started receiving submissions from people telling me their hardships that they faced due to the lack of bathrooms in New York City that I really realized that this is such a serious equity issue, as well as just a public health issue in New York City, as well as the rest of the country. I've had people write into me from California, Chicago, Austin, Texas, telling me, like, please bring Got2Go to my city, like, we need you. And some of the stories that really stood out to me, especially in the beginning when I was getting started, that really altered the trajectory of my mission, was a comment from someone saying, thank you so much, I used your account when I was homeless. And I'm just really happy that I have had this background as a musician, because I feel like it's really informed the way that I create my content and I move my mission forward, because I've just had this emphasis on storytelling throughout my journey in undergrad and graduate school, and it made me realize like the importance of putting those stories out there. So I now have a section on my website where I detail people's bathroom stories. Most of them are anonymous because they're either embarrassing or people just don't want their name to be out there in that sort of way. And I'm really happy that I have this platform that I'm able to do that, and the background that I have that's allowed me to do that.
A lot of the audience knows that I've been producing Itzhak Perlman's concerts for the last couple of years, and I've become more aware about accessibility. He's become more vocal in the last couple of years about his advocacy for people with disabilities. Is it broken down on your website as to, yes, the door may be open, but are they all accessible at this point?
So what's nice about the Google map is that it is all crowdsourced. So if people have an issue getting into a certain bathroom, they can either write a little note in the note section or they can just remove it completely. And so there may be some inaccuracies, but that's what makes it the most accurate, because it's constantly being updated at all times throughout the day. And it really just boils down to, unfortunately, because we are relying on the private establishments for bathroom access, it is up to them who they're picking and choosing to allow into their bathrooms. And that's why I've really become just so motivated to continue working with the city and with the city government to help with the creation of more bathrooms, because it shouldn't be the private establishment's responsibility to pick up the slack of the city's failures. In my opinion, bathrooms are a completely necessary part in order to have a functioning public realm. We cannot go throughout our day-to-day life without sidewalks, and we can't do it without bathrooms either. We need it to be able to get from place to place.
What's the best bathroom in Manhattan?
My favorite bathroom is the Bryant Park bathroom. It's so nice. Have you been to it?
No, I can't say the same for Central Park's bathrooms because we do our concerts by them. And
it's nothing like Central Park.
Iffy, right? Yeah.
No, they play classical music actually, and they have art on the walls, fresh flowers, attendants, and my favorite part is that they have self-changing toilet seat covers.
Tell us where you are with your opera career. You're out of school now. What's next for you as a performer?
Yeah, so I graduated with my master's from Mannes School of Music last spring. And I'm just really excited to continue exploring the different ways I can merge my two passions. I actually created a Got2Go concert last week, which I put on in collaboration with the Oyster Bay Music Festival on Long Island. And we had a whole night of music, bathroom stories, and my pianist played on a toilet, which was my favorite part of the whole concert. That was the piano bench, was a toilet. So I'll show you more pictures and videos after. But
share that with us.
I'm so excited to continue exploring the different ways I can make classical music more accessible, as well as bathrooms. And so that was my main goal with the Got2Go concert, was just to really break down the fourth wall, because with so many classical music concerts, at least the ones that I've been to, there's no speaking even, and I feel like it's so important to make the performers human and make them human to the audience members, because I really feel like that's the way you're able to evoke real emotion through your playing, is if you can make a human connection. And that's what I've really learned through all of my work with Got2Go. And that was a big takeaway I heard from a lot of audience members, that they had so much fun and they had no idea what to expect, but they had a blast.
So tell us where we can access you as a musician and as an advocate, and to find out about the bathrooms.
So as a musician, you can check out my website, which is theodorasiegel.com. And all of my Got2Go information is on Got2GoNYC.com. Or you could check out Got2Go NYC on Instagram or TikTok.
Well, I have to go to the bathroom right now. So thank you, Teddy Siegel, for coming in.
Yes, thank you for having me so much.
WQXR's Artist Check-ins are made possible in part by Rose Hirschel.